Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Workshop with vlog number 294. Got a lot to tell you about today. Got quite a bit, in fact, for a Wednesday especially. I've got 11 talking points. There's a total of 6 video clips, though I'm going to run them back to back, so you'll only look like 3 clips to you. They're in pairs. And got a lot to cover, though. I think you're going to enjoy it. I've already seen one scroll up the screen already. It says Bruce Hines. It says, "Good morning, Jerry." Well, good morning, Bruce. And I don't actually see a viewer count yet, but I'm assuming we're live because of the one that scrolled up. There went 20 viewers right there. So looks like we're good. We had a first talking point is that we had a real good jam at Dickey's Barbecue last night. It was a medium-low crowd. We didn't have a very big crowd, but I did film. I just stopped and took my little camera and filmed 2 songs last night. Now, of course, I'm not playing, although unfortunately I was kind of singing under my breath, trying to sing like a bass line, so you kind of hear that, unfortunately. But I was doing that so quiet, I thought it'll never pick that up, but it did. So unfortunately, I kind of messed the one up a little bit. But anyway, the one clip cuts in kind of in the middle of the song. The second clip, I get the whole song. But just so you know, we'll let you hear those a little later in the program here this morning, but that's coming up. I got a couple of quick pond videos, just kind of a follow-up to show you how, over time that the spring that's feeding the pond, it goes down, but it kind of maintains a certain level at a certain point. And it's almost back to that point. So here's those 2 clips. I'm going to run them back to back. So here's the water flow out of the pipe this morning. You can see it's considerably reduced. I have not yet looked to see what's coming out of the new pipe I put in the pond. But that's still quite a bit of water when you consider 24/7. And you can see how it runs down and into the pond. Now we'll go over to the far end and see what's coming out of the pipe I put in. Well, there's what's going into the pipe. And as you can see, there's a little bit of dirt and debris there. In fact, I'll pull that little bit out and let the rest slide through. And let's see what's coming out at the other end. And you can see, looks to be just about the same as what the spring's putting out. So, I think what we've done so far has been successful. Successful. Anyway, I cut that off a hair early there. I knew I did that when I made the clip, but that's okay. Anyway, yeah, it's all working pretty well. I'm kind of, again, just waiting for it to dry out. I'm going to try to wait one more day yet before I get back up there and start trying to move around some more dirt to build the dam up just a little bit more in a couple places and create a real good spillway. And then we're going to want to get our grass seed on there. Okay, what's my next topic? While we're on the pond there, I do have another thing I wanted to talk to you about. I was showing these buckets that I made and for that little water wheel in yesterday's vlog. If you didn't see that, well, you might want to check it out. A couple of people commented that they thought these buckets were too big, too big for the small water wheel. Well, because they were talking about the flow. It wouldn't work with the small amount of flow that I have. Well, if you understand the mechanics of it, assuming a couple of things. Number one, assuming the wheel's balanced, and number 2, that it spins fairly freely, which would be that's the reason I have ball bearings that will be inside the house. So it's going to spin really easy and it should be really balanced. Assuming those 2 things, it really doesn't matter, even if you just have a trickle of water, it really doesn't even matter how big the buckets are. As long as, again, it's balanced. because the water's going to find its level, if you will, and it's going to go into that bucket. And even if it's just trickling in a big bucket, that bucket's going to start to move because of the weight and the balance. And then the next bucket's going to come along, and it's going to trickle the same amount of water in that bucket. And then the next one's coming, and it's going to trickle the same amount of water. And actually, it can speed up a little bit. It'll find its speed, and it'll finally get going at a particular speed for the trickle of water that's coming in. So it doesn't really matter, just if you want to understand the mechanics of it, as long as your bucket is not too terribly small. In other words, like your flow is really big and you have a tiny bucket, you're not going to be very efficient. So, if your bucket's oversized, it's not really going to hurt anything as long as everything's balanced really well and as long as it spins really freely. So just thought I'd point that out. Now, I'm sure, don't get me wrong, I don't claim to be any kind of expert on water wheels, but I just know mechanics, and I know that's the way that's going to work. But there probably are some other things about water wheels that I do not understand that could affect the performance also. So, I'm not trying to say that's the end-all be-all on the subject. My next point is I've got to service my Bobcat, my skid steer, today, and I bought $140 worth of filters, or $145 worth of filters, and I think about $75 worth of oil. So just an oil change basically is about $200 on that Bobcat, and that's doing it myself. If I was paying somebody to do it, I might be, I might be three figures. Who knows? But anyway, I've got that to do today. I'm planning to get that done yet today. A couple of my other plans for today is I want to get going on this Vevor smelting furnace. And this is for melting aluminum. You can see I have quite a bit of aluminum there. That's not a lot of aluminum. I've got more. That's just what I happen to have handy here in the shop. And but I do plan to get on that yet today too, and try to get that going and get that melted and pour it into something. Probably just going to pour it into a piece of pipe, and hopefully the way that works is that the hot metal will shrink as it cools. And there's a fly driving me crazy. And anyway, the hot metal will shrink and then fall out of the pipe. And then I can use the piece of metal, the resulting piece of aluminum, in my metal lathe to turn down parts or whatever. So I'm just going to do a very simple thing like that on this first go around, just to see, get my feet wet and understand how it works. But I'm really thankful to Vevor for sending me that, and I'm anxious to get started on it and get the video out for you. I'm going to try to get that, assuming everything goes okay, I'm going to get that done today and hopefully have that video out this weekend. Horse trailer videos. I've got two of those I'm going to run back for you also to just show you a little bit more status on the horse trailer. Well, we got the mats in the trailer. The brackets that I welded on for these butt bars, that caused a lot of heat and discoloration, but that's okay because I think what we're going to do is take somebody's advice. One of the viewers suggested that we get the truck bed lining for the inside of this, but we put the big thick rubber mats down. Those are real heavy. In fact, they're so heavy you can barely carry them, and there's two of those, and we cut them to fit. And now we're going to paint, I think, the side walls with that truck bed lining. I think that's a good idea, and that'll cover up the discoloration and everything too. And I think it'll be good to keep it from rusting and the whole bit. I think it's just a good idea. So that's where I'm leaving it for now. We also got the hubcaps on the trailer, so that part's done too. Yeah, so the horse trailer, well, I'm going to spray this on yet today. I think I bought 4 cans of this, and I bought, by price and by what it says, I bought the best one they had. This one is truck bed pro grade, and it was the most expensive one, and generally you get what you pay for, but that may not be true in this case. You never know until you do it. But these are large cans, 15-ounce cans. I bought 4 of them because I want to be sure to put on a good heavy coat. So I may, if I can coat it in 1 can, well, I'm going to put on at least 2 cans because I'm going to go back over it. I'm going to make sure it's a good thick coating. And anyway, I'm just going to do the best I can with what I got to work with. And I think that'll do a good job. At least I hope it will. Also, if you saw those big heavy rubber mats in the trailer, well, those heavy rubber mats, they are really heavy. They're, 3/4 of an inch thick. Just solid rubber. Man, they're heavy. I mean, seriously heavy. I don't know what they weigh, but it's more awkward than the weight, but it's real awkward and heavy to try to pick it. You can barely, I don't think I could pick it up off the ground by holding it. Honestly, it's that heavy. So anyway, they're hard to get around, but I took the other 2 that we were going to put on the walls because I couldn't really think of a good way to attach it, without drilling holes all the way through and making a mess. So I just decided that I wasn't going to do that. I was going to go with the bed liner. Well, therefore, that left me with those 2 extra mats. And so I took those 2 extra mats and I put those in on the floor of my metal workshop over there and along the bench. So that's really nice. Now, I had mats in there before, but they were the real thin, foam rubber mats that are, they were nice and cushiony, it's better than walking on concrete. But these heavy mats, now that's where it's at. In fact, I'm actually thinking about putting them across the whole floor in there. It cost a few bucks to do that, but man, those things are nice. And they've got just enough cushion that you can feel the cushion, yet they're super heavy duty. Nothing's going to affect them. You couldn't cut them if you wanted to. You know what I mean? They're just really solid mats. So anyway, I'm thinking about doing that. You can get those at a farm supply if anybody else is interested in that type of thing. They're, I don't know what they call them. I think they call them stall mats or something. But you can look at around at the different farm supplies and check that out in case you're interested in putting a really good mat in front of your workbench. It beats those foam rubber, locked together things. It beats them 7 ways to sundown and then some. Okay, moving on from there. I'm just reading my list here so I can try to stay on target here. The mandolin neck. Bingo. I took a few minutes yesterday, and literally it was just a few minutes, and I steamed this off, and it kind of went like I almost knew what I was doing. It actually came off fairly easy. I just steamed it for about 5 minutes, literally. That's about all I steamed it, maybe not even that long, and I could tell that the steam was really penetrating well, so I just turned the steamer off and then just started wiggling it slowly, and rocking it slowly, and just finally just popped right out. Just pulled it right out. And didn't create any damage at all. There's no tear out whatsoever. So it came out as good as it could be done. Well, I told you that we had a couple of clips from Dickey's BBQ. I'll warn you ahead of time. The first one is I kind of cut in the middle of the song. Both of these clips are toward the end of the evening. Well, the first one was maybe a half hour or 40 minutes before the end of the time, and the second one was the very last song of the night. So there wasn't a very big crowd there at this point. But anyway, like I said, I cut into this first one. I'm going to run them back to back. And on this first one's also where I was kind of singing a little bass in the background there. So you just kind of have to ignore that. So here it goes.
I just got tired of that same old job, tired of fighting that freeway mob. I never really ever thought I'd go, I'd ever get as far as Mexico. I even learned to speak the language some, down on the beach drinking coke and rum. You wouldn't know me with this golden glow, down on the beach down in Mexico. I'm living right and I'm feeling good, I'm doing everything I said I would. I should have left a long time ago, who need you, I got Mexico. Oh yeah, senor. After all, nothing's really changed. Oh, now honey, now that's a shame. I still love you, that's the way it goes. Who's got you, I got Mexico. I'm living right and I'm feeling good, I'm doing everything I said I would. I should have left a long time ago. Who needs you, I got Mexico. After all, nothing really changed. Oh, now honey, now that's a shame. I still love you, that's the way it goes. He's got you, I got Mexico. I'm living right and I'm feeling good, I'm doing everything I said I would. I should have left a long time ago. Who needs you, I got Mexico.
Yeah, we had a good jam last night, even though some of the, key band members weren't there. Our, Don on the bass, so Beverly filled in on the bass. The only negative of that is she didn't do much singing last night, so we kind of fell short on that end with Beverly not doing much singing, even though she could have. We tried to get her to sing, but she said she hadn't played the bass enough, so she needed to concentrate on the bass, But she's such a good bass player. It's not even funny. She's really good on the bass. And anyway, overall, that was really a fun evening and had a good time. So if you can make it out there sometime, please do. Like I said, that was toward the end of the evening, and most of the crowd had already gone, even though it wasn't a very big crowd to begin with. I think that's about everything I had to cover here. The last talking point was just simply that Cash will be here for his lesson later today. So we'll be looking forward to that. And I'll try to get all this other work done before he gets here. We don't have that many comments today, but I noticed a couple of different ones there. There's Bruce Hines, Bill Green, Christia Thomason, Paul Walton, and Brian Webster, and Zappa is on there, and Colonel Bogey, and he says from Devon, England. And there's Bill Green. He says he's from the Vancouver Island, British Columbia. Wow, very cool. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Paul Lanier. I'm not sure how you pronounce that last name. Could be a couple of different ways, I'm sure. Zappa says, keep in mind the aluminum bars you get will not be billet aluminum, which is compressed, make it hard. I'm not really sure what you mean by that, Zappa, on what your note is, but the one thing I do know for sure is I'll probably learn a whole lot about melting and pouring aluminum and how to work it and all that. My biggest concern with melting the aluminum and pouring it into any kind of a billet is the porosity. I'm trying, I just want to be able to cut out the gas and all that so that I get solid aluminum. As long as I get solid aluminum, I don't much care how hard it is for the most part, because most things you make out of aluminum, you don't expect them to be super, super hard anyway, or, aluminum is aluminum after all. So I don't know that much about it at all. Not even going to try to pretend like I do, but I'm sure I'll learn after I pour a few of them. So that's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow with another vlog number 295. We'll see you then.